Hello everyone, welcome to another video tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to continue on the same project, but we'll not create anything new, but instead of this, we'll create a LWC component and show these detail in the custom LWC rather than showing this in any out of the box component. So we are going to deactivate this and use a custom LWC component. And in order to do that, we have to do few things before getting started. So to set up an environment, we need VS Code, and in that VS Code, we'll link our org, create a project first and then link it to the org that we are working on. So let's do it. So I'll open a new window and create a new project. You can do this by clicking Control Shift and P simultaneously and then create project with manifest. Now these options will come only if you have few extensions, which I'll just show. Let me name this first. It will be car rental. It can be anything, and let's choose a place where exactly to place it. Let's do it in here. Now I'll show you the extensions. With the help of these extensions, you will be able to see all of these options, and it will be easier for you to communicate with Vlocity or the Salesforce org with your VS Code. Up till now, we just have created the project, and it out of the, by default it gave us these folders and everything. Most of them are empty right now because we haven't added or fetched anything yet. But by default, you will get all of these things. Let me show you the extensions that are really required for this. You need the Salesforce CLI integration and Salesforce extension pack. Once you install this, this pack comes with a lot of things, so it will get installed directly. Once you install the pack, everything comes along with it. And the CLI integration. Once you install both of these things, you will be able to see Salesforce related options available. So when we hit Control Shift and P on the keyboard, you see SFDX related commands. That's the reason it is coming, because we have Salesforce CLI installed. Now, since our project is created now, we need to link our org with the VS Code. For that, we need to do this authorize an org. And let's keep it project default. Let's name it as car rental as well. It can be anything. We aren't going to use these names anywhere. It just used for the reference of VS Code, you can say. So when you run these commands, it will open a new tab, and there you have to log in with your credentials with which you want to log in. So our org is authorized now. Now we need to create a component. So for that as well, you need to press Control Shift and P, and you'll see Lightning Web component. So it will create a new one. SFDX create a Lightning Web component. I'm not going in detail like how these can be run from terminal as well, but it's easier to do it with VS Code. You see all of these options just like that, and once you click on it, you need to give the name of the component. For us, it will be cars, because we are going to display all the cars there, and choose the default LWC folder. It will create few files. So XML and JS are most important file for any component, and the HTML is optional. Like if you want to show something in UI, then only you need HTML. Otherwise, it's okay if you don't have it or have it blank. And this test out of the box, it is, with that option, it got created. However, we are not going to need it, so we'll delete it. Few things here are this, like import. By default, it imports Lightning element, but since we want to use it in Vlocity, we need to make few changes here and there. So I'll just show you. before actually writing something in here, I'll go to the documentation and show you how any components get extended. So in Vlocity, if you want to communicate with OmniScript, you need to extend it with some out of the box component that are given so that it can interact, because internally it has a lot of functions that you might need. For that, I'll just show you the basic structure right now. It imports something and extends that, and after extension we need to update in XML as well. So if you want to put your component on some page, you need to have these targets, but in our case we are going to use it in OmniScript. We and not going to place standalone in on any page, so we don't really need this. The most important thing here is the runtime namespace, and you need to expose your component as well to be able to see on the OmniScript options. So we need all of these. We can definitely remove this, and this namespace varies depending on the package that is installed in your org. Let me go there and see. So for us it is OmniStudio package, and if you go to namespace prefixes, the namespace is OmniStudio in our case. However, it can be different depending upon the package that is in Vlocity package that is installed. Let's say if you are an insurance org, it will be Vlocity_ins. Similarly for communication, it will be CMT, and so on. So you need to verify once from installed package and see what is the namespace prefix for your org. So for us it's OmniStudio, and now we'll go back to our component. Firstly, we'll fix things in XML. So basically in here what I did is I made it true, and I just updated the namespace to OmniStudio. This is sorted now. We don't need to touch it, so we can close it. Now we'll go to the JavaScript part. So out of the box, Vlocity provides the components that you can extend. I'll just go to the link in here again, and if you see base OmniScript LWC README references, if you go to this link and you can download the latest one, in here you will see all the components that you can extend, and it has some documentation. We'll just check in a while. For our case, we are going to extend the OmniScript base mixin. I'm not going too deep in this right now because I'll definitely create a separate course for this, basically a video series. But for now, I'm just giving a glimpse like how this LWC components gets interacted with OmniScript, how they pass data from OmniScript to LWC, how it can be displayed there. So for our case, we are going to extend it with OmniScript base mixin, and we need this Omni JSON data. You can read the details from here. They all gives you different properties that you can access directly upon extending, and there are methods as well. So in case if you want to write something on data JSON, you can use functions from here. There are various functions to update the OmniScript. So you can use, you can read the documentation and use it according to your need. So in our case, we are going to update the cars.js and extend it with OmniScript base mixin. I'm directly pasting the code. So what I did here, I just imported this component that is OmniScript base mixin, and before this we have to give the namespace again here. If you go to the documentation and go back to this, it actually, it's mentioned here. You need to give the namespace and the component after that. So this is exactly what we are doing here. And once this OmniScript base mixin is extended, you need to update this line as well. So earlier it was just extending the lightning element, but this time this lightning element will be passed as a parameter to the OmniScript base mixin. This is the way how it is. All right. And like I talked about this OmniScript, the OmniJSON data, we can directly access the OmniScript data from the OmniScript base mixin. For now, we'll comment this and I'll just show you the output of this. So on connected callback, we need to log, and I'll do a stringified version of that as well, because there is a concept of shadow DOM. So it do not allow you to see the data directly. If you want to see something, you have to make it stringified. Or if you want to see it clearly, you can use json.parse as well, wrapping it. So it will be easy to read. And in order to push this element to your org, you can right click on this cars folder and hit deploy this to source org. Let's add something in HTML as well, so that we'll be able to see that this component get mounted. We'll be able to will be indicated by this. We'll deploy this, and it got deployed to our org, and now we'll be able to see it in the org. So in order to do that, we have to go to the OmniScript. In the designer, what we can do is, let's open this, and since we want to place it in this step and we do not want to use this anymore, so we'll deactivate this, and instead of this we'll add a custom component, and in here we have cars. We can directly see that, and we can name this as car LWC. All right, so we'll just keep it like this for now, and we cannot directly preview it, because for an LWC to show up in the preview mode, we need to activate it. So we'll activate, click done, and now we can preview it, and this time the component will show up. So we see that our component got mounted here, and we were consoling something, so we can check that as well in console. And in here we see proxy object. All right, this is where exactly our data is. So what we can do is right click on this and click on copy object. We can check that on JSON, and we see the whole Omni data JSON. And to compare, what we can do is we can see the same thing here as well. So basically, by doing that, this console, basically this Omni JSON data, we are able to access the data JSON directly in the LWC component, and we can just keep the stringified part so that we'll be able to see the changes there. This time I'll not refresh that page. I assume that this will come up. Now we need to show our cars here, and in order to do that, we'll have to update our LWC component, and this LWC we already have in there. All right, since we logged it from the component itself, that component have access to all of these things. Now we need to access the available car nodes. All right, so what we'll do is we'll create a new variable AV cars, that is available cars, and we'll assign it the whole node data to available cars. Let's keep it consoled as well. Now all of this data will be available in this variable, and we can console this as well. And we need to stringify this. This time you will be able to see both stringified part, and I'll add something at the start of this, maybe AV cars. And I'll push this component again. Alright, the component is pushed now. We can go to our browser again. In here, now we can refresh. We need to refresh this, but a recommendation here is when you are developing something in LWC, just open your dev tool. Once it is open, go to refresh button, right click on it and hit empty cache and hard reload. This will clear the cache so that your LWC will be updated and you'll see the latest version of that. You can now close it. Although we are going to need it again because we want to see the console.log part of the code. Now we can preview again. We see the hello again, and now if we inspect and open the console, we'll be able to see the console part. This is from the first console log, and this is the AV cast that like after assigning the value to AV cars variable, this is what we got, and this is what we need to loop through. We'll copy this and paste it here, and we can exactly see what we are getting. So we have a array of objects which we have to iterate and loop through this. For this, LWC have a for each loop, which we'll just use. I'll paste the code and I'll explain you what I'm doing here. I'll paste it, and in here I haven't did anything fancy. I just created a box. In there I have given a heading and used a grid to show all of these things. Now I'll just push this. Meanwhile, I'll explain you the main part, that is how to loop through any array in the LWC. So we just have to give this the variable name which is there in the JS file. So in JS it is called as this dot AV cars. However, in JavaScript you can directly access this AV cars in here and wrap it in curly braces, and this is the format how we write a for each loop. So each of the item in this will be called as for item, that is car in this case, and if we want to access any property, it will be car dot and the property name. And now we will go there and refresh again. And we can remove this. And we need to preview. Click on next, and then this is how it is coming up now. So we can make it more beautiful definitely, and we still have a lot of events to be handled here. I mean, we do not have a checkbox here, but let's say if we click on this whole card, this card got selected, and same for other as well, and it will deselect the other. There are a lot of things that still needed to be done. I'll not do it in this series. It will be part of one of my coming video tutorial series, but I just wanted to demo that how LWC works with OmniStudio. Again, you can check the documentation from the link provided. This is just to give you a glimpse how it works. That's all for this video. Please stay tuned for the upcoming series. I'll be bringing JavaScript for LWC, and after that I'll bring a LWC series as well. Once this gets completed, I'll go in depth on how LWC works with OmniScript. So please stay tuned. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming on. Thanks for watching.